Hi, and welcome to a video on how to solve polynomial equations. There's a lot of ways I could have titled this video. Another thing you could say is that we're finding the roots of a polynomial function, or finding the roots of a polynomial equation, solving quadratic equations, finding the roots of a quadratic function, so on and so forth. There's lots of ways to describe this. But basically, we're solving a polynomial equation would be an overarching explanation of that. To facilitate this video today, we are examining example 1 from chapter 9, section 5 of Big Ideas Algebra 1, where it asks us to solve a quadratic using the quadratic formula. So to do so, let's get started by going to our calculator. We're going to go ahead and go to our calculator screen. And we're just doing calculations today, so let's just go to our scratch pad and calculate. Now I could, alternatively, do a calculator page in a new document by clicking the calculator shortcut. Either way, we want to have a calculator page. This is a page where I can just do a simple operations, right? For this, though, we are going to be solving a quadratic equation, 2x squared minus 5x plus 3. To get to that place where we can solve, we're going to go to Menu, Algebra. Under Algebra, we have number 3, Polynomial Tools. We're going to look today at what each one of these can do. Number 1, find roots of a polynomial. It's a great place to start. Now I know my quadratic, greatest power in it is 2. It has a degree of 2. I've got real roots, so that works out awesome, and I hit OK. What's going to pop up are 3 boxes. We're going to put my A, my B, and my C value. Or, as the calculator has placed it, A2, A1, and A sub 0. In other words, A, B, C. Same thing, they've even got the formula here, just so you can have a reference point of where they want you to put it in there. In this problem, we have 2x squared, so I'm going to put a 2, a negative 5, and a 3. Now it was a minus 5. Notice I did a negative 5 because there wasn't a minus up here. 2, negative 5, and 3. I don't put the variable in, just that value. I hit OK, and it's actually subbed in all these values for me, and I just hit Enter from this screen. What this tells me is that the roots, or the solutions to this quadratic, are 1 and 3 over 2, or 1.5. Heads up, a helpful tip you can do in your calculator, if you want to know what a value is as a decimal, let's say now 3 over 2, you probably already know what that is a decimal, but let's pretend you don't. You would go to Menu, Number, Convert to Decimal, and it will automatically take your previous answer. You do Convert to Decimal, hit Enter, it says, oh, 1 and 1.5. So if you happen to want to be able to use that, you could use that as a tool. So that is how you find the root of a polynomial equation, or the roots of a quadratic equation, how to solve a quadratic equation. A couple helpful tips. Let's say, for example, you have a polynomial, but it doesn't have an x term, or it doesn't have the constant term. So you could still do this process. Menu 3, Algebra, find roots. Let's say you have 12x squared plus 6. Well, I have an x squared, so my 12 would go here. I don't have an x term, so I would put a 0, and then I'd put my 6 here. So if you don't have one of the terms, you need to put a 0 in its place. You hit OK. Then let's say another thing to look at here is what happens if you have no solution. This polynomial equation has no real solution, so it gives you an empty set. Instead of saying no solution, it shows you an empty set, meaning there are no real values to this. That also might remind you, however, that there could be some non-real values. So there's a couple ways to get access to those. So again, what I just showed you was that there was no possible solution that is a real value. Let's say I have some non-real, possible imaginary or complex numbers. I'm going to go back into my same place, that was Menu 331, and instead of saying my roots are real, I'm going to say, oh, they could be complex. So change that roots in this dialog box to complex. You hit OK, and this time when I put in my 12 and 6, 12x squared plus 0x plus 6, it's going to give me some imaginary values, negative 0.707i and positive 0.707i. So I do have 2 possible solutions, but they are complex, they are not real. Okay, last of all, let's just do a quick example of what would I do if I have something that's greater than a degree of 2. So for example, I'm going to make up one, just follow along on the screen here, 1x to the 3rd power minus 5x squared minus x plus 5. Let's say I want to solve that polynomial, right? Okay, so here's my polynomial here. I'm going to do Menu, 3 Algebra, 3 Polynomial Tools, 1, find roots. Let's assume their roots are real for right now to get started. Third degree. So I have to change the degree here to be a 3. I hit OK, and my roots there are, I'm going to use the coefficients in front, 1, -5, -1, and +5. When I hit OK, hit enter, and there are my 3 possible solutions. -1, +1, 5 are all roots or solutions to that polynomial. So if you have to change that around, you can just go ahead and change. You can solve any polynomial this way, but you can change the degree and the roots from this dialog screen to customize it to whatever your problem is. All right, enjoy.